And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us on Wake Up Call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can reach them Monday through Saturday for sales and service. So get yourself over to Great Lakes Honda City today. Let them know the DT sent you. My dad just got his new 2025 Honda Ridgeline. He loves that truck. And I, of course, have my 2025 Honda CR-V, the Accords, the Civics, the Pilots. They're all out there, and so on and so forth. So much more. Honda, get over there. Love the product, and, of course, love Great Lakes Honda City and all the work that they do. So make sure that you see them today. You can get a sneak peek of their inventory by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is with you up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com on internet streaming radio. So hope you are with us wherever you're with us. We thank you for being with us. And I know that in Italy, where we broadcasted live a couple times, that they're 6 hours ahead. So we actually broadcast in Italy 3 to 5 p.m. So we're there midday. So watching midday from Italy, we appreciate you. And of course, you can get us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is go to Wake Up Call DT. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call DT or Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these outlets. Make sure you subscribe, and you'll get us there. So, with that being said, inside of ModPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'? PJ is What's Poppin'. Papa Joe here with us this morning. It is Thursday. The next time you see Papa Joe on Wake Up Call, he'll be sitting next to me in the same room, as I will be doing 2 weeks of broadcasts from the Sunshine State. You know that Florida is the second home of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media and the second home of me personally. So I will be spending 2 weeks down in Florida broadcasting not only Wake Up Call, but also Super Powered Pop in connection with going to Universal's newest park, the Universal Epic Universe. And of course, we'll be doing Do Diz with Dan in my coverage of Walt Disney World. So a lot of great stuff going on while I'm down in the great state of Florida, building those bridges and doing what God asked me to do. So with that being said, we got the man of the 2 hours here on the show. PJ is what some call him. Other people call him Papa Joe. They also call him the Go-So, the grand old smooth one. And so he is here with us this morning. I call him the guru when it comes to baseball. Papa Joe, how we doing?
Good morning, Daniel. Things are fine. Things are fine. Love it. I tell you, it is hot down here, folks. I mean, you all want to come to Florida in wintertime. Don't come down here from May to August. 92 out right now. Right now it's 92.
Yeah. 92
Too
degrees.
hot. Air conditioning going 24/7.
Yeah, so I know it's going to be hot down there when I go down there. I know that July and August are typically hot, but sometimes May brings that kicker, and May is definitely going to be bringing it here. So I'm hoping that we get some 80s. 80s and sun is good. Maybe 70 at night, something like that. Hoping for that, but happy to be coming down and be able to get to see you very soon. I know PJ wanted to start with football this morning, and the fact that apparently things got heated in the Tush Push decision-making here. The Tush Push with the NFL meetings. Apparently we had some heated moments here on what was going on. The look to ban the Tush Push failed at the NFL Spring League meetings. And so taking a look at this, after months of debate, the NFL Spring meetings that were in Minnesota yesterday, the fate of the Tush Push is not going to be deleted. It's been decided, and it's going to be here. The Green Bay Packers proposed to ban the Tush Push, and it failed by 2 votes to reach the 75% required majority needed to pass. The vote was 22-10, with 9 teams joining the Eagles in voting against the proposal. The Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots, Detroit Lions, Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, New Orleans Saints, Tennessee Titans, and New York Jets voted against the proposal. which was reported by ESPN. 24 of the NFL's 32 owners needed to vote to ban it, and they only got to 22. The Eagles posted on X, the former Twitter, a graphic of the Tush Push with the words, "Push on." On YouTube, the Eagles posted 26 minutes of Tush Push highlights. On Instagram, the Eagles posted a Jalen Hurts meme after the vote. Lane Johnson posted on Instagram a picture of the play with "pushing forward." According to CBS Sports, Jonathan Jones, Eagle owner Jeffrey Lurie said delivered a passionate but fair speech at the Spring League meetings. Former Eagles center Jason Kelce also spoke in defense of the play. The push to ban the Tush Push gained momentum again in recent months following the Eagles' dominant playoff run to a Super Bowl victory over the Chiefs. But the Packers, going back to them, they had pushed for this the most, to ban this. And in the updated proposal, pushing or pulling a runner in any direction at any time or lifting him to his feet would be banned. If a player pushed or pulled the runner during a game in the upcoming season, it would result in a 10-yard penalty. I have a lot of thoughts on this because the Tush Push of what we've seen the Eagles do is something, but we've also seen other players push their teammates into the end zone or for a first down in the past, and I thought that banning it would have resulted in a lot of issues with the NFL. But PJ, I'd love to get your thoughts. The Tush Push pushes on. What's your take on it?
You know, it's asinine that we're talking about something like this. I mean, you're talking about the spring camps, talking about free agency, talking about TV deals, and here we're talking about Tush Push.
Yeah.
The hell's the matter with these guys? I mean, leave it alone. I mean, someone came up with the idea, which was the Phillies, because they got a monsters of a quarterback. Jason Kelce, of course, is going to love it because he's the one that did all the pushing for years. Daniel, I don't care one way or the other. The only thing I can see happening is that the Tush Push has usually been at the goal line, but I think you're going to see it more now on 3rd and 1 on their own 25 or something like that, where they're going to really start pushing and getting an easy first down. I guess there's no easy way to talk about it. I mean, I understand some of the GMs didn't want it. I mean, it's really not a football play, as we call it. I wish they would talk about something that's more important than pushing someone's ass, you know?
Well, and the thing is, I mean, having this proposal brought up, nobody could stop it, right? I mean, very rarely did you stop the Eagles when they did this play. But here's the thing that I don't get, Papa Joe. If these are NFL players, and these are the best players in the world, right? These are the best players that we got. And we got offensive linemen that fought to get a job that a lot of people didn't get. And we got these running backs, and we have these tight ends. Why can't other teams seem to be successful with the Tush Push? I mean, the Eagles are almost unstoppable. I would say they're like 90% effective with the Tush Push. So when we look at other teams, why do you think other teams are not as effective? Are their guys not big enough? Are they not moving in the right? I mean, you would think in the NFL, if you need to get over the goal line or you need half of a yard or a yard somewhere, that everybody could Tush Push to success. But we really don't see a lot of teams in the NFL besides the Eagles utilize this play. And if they do, it's not always successful.
True. But the Eagles have an exceptional quarterback to do this. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that are maybe tall and slender, and they really don't have any push, shall we say. Jalen Hurts formulated this thing, and they got it going, and it's to their credit. You know that if it's 3rd and a half a yard on their own 40-yard line, no doubt what's going to happen. What I think teams got to do is they got to find some big old defensive tackle to stick them right over the center and see if they can stop it. There's a guy that this is unreal. This guy is 6'7" and 384 pounds. Played for Florida.
Yeah.
He was effective, but I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to make the pros, but he got signed, and he's working. I think he's working for the Chiefs. I can't remember, but anyway, he's lost a couple pounds. But if you could put someone like him right over the center, and how are you going to move 350 pounds? Not very easily. So that's potentially why they put a tackle behind the quarterback and push him. Um, I applaud it, but it's also stupid. I would rather they talk about something important. I'd rather them talk about Jalen Hurts being a good quarterback instead of a guy that's doing a tush push.
Well, and when we look at the teams, and so usually when you vote, it's supposed to be protected, right? But in the case of the NFL, they outed all the teams that voted to keep this thing going, right? That didn't want to ban the tush push. So, are you surprised at all at the teams that we're seeing that accepted this? As I said, I stated the teams that had voted with the Eagles to keep this thing going, and those teams that for over 2,000 yards. The Cleveland Browns approved it. That's interesting, right? The Cleveland Browns don't necessarily know who their quarterback is going to be or their running back. The Detroit Lions, they have two strong runners. So Jahmyr Gibbs, and they also have David Montgomery. So that can make some sense. Their quarterback's Jared Goff, who's more of a pocket passer. The Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence try and jump over. He's been known to put his body out there when he's running. So that's interesting there with a new head coach. The Miami Dolphins with Tua, he likes to run, but he's gotten hit a lot. We have the New England Patriots who are trying to figure out who they're going to be in this new era without Belichick of the last couple seasons. They had a new coach last year. They got a new coach this year. So they've had now two coaches in 2 years since Belichick left. The Saints, who have no idea what their plan's going to be on offense. And then the Jets, who have Justin Fields, who can run. And the Tennessee Titans, who just brought in Cam Ward. So your thoughts on this? Is there any theme here? I mean, the Ravens, it's clear that they run. The Jaguars, I think Trevor Lawrence is more apt to run and push forward than people may really know him to be. But you got to pay attention to Trevor Lawrence, and I've covered him for many years, covered him in college. But are you surprised with the list of teams that said, let's save the tush pushes? Are they kind of telling the rest of the NFL, we're gonna be doing a little more of this? Maybe we got some linemen. Maybe we drafted a tight end to do something like this. I mean, do you feel like our list of the other 9 besides the Eagles is any indicator of how they're going to run their offense?
Sure. It's got to be in their offensive plans. You talk about really good tight ends over the years. Travis Kelce lines up in a fullback. Imagine him trying to push forward in some, in an I formation. You got the quarterback, you got a Travis Kelce, then you got an offensive tackle behind Kelce.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful statement. So, look, teams are going to have to copy it because they're going to want to get that first down on their own 35-yard line, or they want to get a touchdown on the opponent's one. So, yeah, they're going to use it. So I think they ought to stop talking about it. And if you're going to adapt it in your playbook, do it and use it, and everyone be happy.
No surprise here, though, is that the Kansas City Chiefs voted against it. Why? Because it beat them in the Super Bowl. So the Kansas City Chiefs have voted against it, and 22 teams in the NFL. So the 22 teams that voted in favor of banning the tush push: the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bills, the Panthers, the Bears, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Packers, who allegedly had initiated this plan to ban it, the Texans, the Colts, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Rams, the Vikings, the Giants, the Steelers, the Niners, the Seahawks, the Bucks, and the Commanders. It makes total sense here that the Commanders, the Cowboys, and the Giants went against it because they play in the same division as the Eagles, and the Bucks, who have played the Eagles in the last couple playoff years, and then other teams like the Seahawks and the Niners and the Vikings that are going to see the Eagles in the postseason or see them during the regular season in the NFC. So that makes perfect sense. And then like I mentioned here, some teams that are in the AFC also look to ban such a thing. I just can't believe that other teams can't do it as well. That's the thing that really throws me off. I mean, if you need a yard or a half a yard in the NFL, if you're on the goal line in the NFL and you can't get in or you can't get that first down, I'm questioning what the heck is going on with your team. I would imagine that a 4th and short for anybody or a goal line thing, you got to have a really darn good defense to have a goal line stance, but the Eagles find a way. And you made mention of Jalen Hurts. I made mention of the line, as well as, their tight end work and everything that they have. But the Eagles have shown that they are dominant in this. The NFL, allegedly, enough teams wanted to get rid of it. But when they talked about pushing or pulling anywhere on the field, I mean, think about this, PJ. We've seen it in the middle of the field. There's a running back running, and a quarterback comes up behind him and hits him forward. We've seen when a guy's trying to get into the end zone, there's a running back running, and all of a sudden an offensive lineman hits, and another offensive lineman hits, and they push him over. If we got rid of the tush push, we would not see, arguably, maybe any of these plays. A quarterback couldn't help. An offensive lineman couldn't help. You couldn't go behind your teammate and try and get them in. And we've seen it with running backs and quarterbacks that their teammates would go behind them and push them into the end zone. So if we lost the tush push, we would be losing all this. PJ, this is what I think. And you know, if the NFL, if some of these teams take offense to this, I don't mean offense to this, but I think the reality is you can't beat it, so you're trying to get rid of it. And the reality is the Eagles found something to do within the rules that they could utilize to their advantage. And typically when somebody finds a way around the rules, finds a way to do something that's legal, that's really hard to defend, then someone complains about it. So I feel like, you know what, the Packers and some of the NFL complained, and oh well, you're going to figure out, oh, you're going to have to find a way to beat it, or you're just going to have to deal with it. But I think that this is a case of the Eagles getting smart and some other teams in the NFL complaining.
That's true. As I stated earlier, now it's not going to be messed with. So find out in your offensive plans how good of a quarterback you have in that situation, or put someone else in to take the snap, like a big tight end, and have a defensive tackle push them. There's all sorts of ways that they can do it, and you know, don't be pissing and moaning or anything like that when something happens. The Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl because they were a very, very good team. Their offense, defense, special teams, and everything. They are good. And one of their factors is a very mobile quarterback. Now, you know me. Yeah. I don't like to see mobile quarterbacks get killed out there. Yeah. I don't want to see Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen trying to get a half a yard somewhere and some guy chop up their leg when they're in the middle of a pile. I don't want to see that because I don't like that. Yeah. However, if that's the case and you have to conform to what's already there, you got to take advantage of it. Yeah. Lamar Jackson is a perfect example of a quarterback that runs. I guess you call him a running quarterback. If there was 3rd and 1, Baltimore, he got the ball, he's going to get the first down. So, you know, let the other teams try to figure out what's going on. As of now, it's fun to watch, and the announcers get a big kick out of it. They'll say, "Oh, here comes a tush push," you know, these big old guys come lumbering on the field. So it'll be fun to watch, and it'll be fun to watch, see who takes advantage of it.
Yeah, and it makes it even more so that you got to have very agile linemen, big linemen that can handle something like this, and it shows where your offensive line is at, shows where your running backs are at, and shows where your tight ends are and your quarterbacks. So, hey, listen, it's a play. It's an NFL play. And like we've seen in movies and like we've seen in real life, when some coach comes up with an idea or some player or somebody says, hey, let's try this, and it works, all of a sudden people want to do something to it. They want to copy it. They want to get rid of it. You know, I remember in the Mighty Ducks movie, the Flying V. And so, you know, you think about these different things, and that was in the world of hockey, but you think about the tush push, it's all it is saying we're stronger than you. You know we're going to run. Right. You know we're fighting for this. You got to try and stop us. They don't hide it. They go after it. They do it. And guess what? We woke up here on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, and everybody's tush is safe. Keep pushing, baby. So
that's good.
With that being said, God save the tush. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, I will unleash PJ on Major League Baseball, as well as he's got some golf notes. Scotty Scheffler, man, we talk about him over the last couple years, and dude keeps putting work in. Scheffler out there dancing, doing the Scheffler shuffle. And I might have to TM that. I might have to copyright that. But PJ and I will take a step aside. We'll be back right after this. You can be sure that 100% of this screen's tushes will be pushing on forward on Wake Up Call inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. PJ is here with me, picture in picture. You know, PJ is every Thursday with us. We might change it up, tweak it a little bit coming up within the next couple weeks here. Next week we'll be at the same time here in the same place, but the week after I'm going to be with Papa Joe in St. Augustine. So we're going to have some fun with that. PJ and the Oh, how about this? Why don't we change? I never thought of this until right now. Why don't, when we talk about golf, why don't we call it the PJA? I like that. Call it the PJA.
Yeah, I like that.
So
I like that.
All right, Papa Joe, what do we got in the golf world?
Well, I think if you're a sports fan like I am and you are, you know, there's so many things to follow. I mean, they're playing hockey now, they're playing NBA, which I don't like. You know, there's so many sports going on.
Yeah.
And one of the most individual sports is golf, of course. Some people dismiss it as a foo-foo game and this and that. They just don't know how hard it is to hit a 4-iron 180 yards on a green. What we're watching the last 3 years is really something special. And I go back to the days of Tiger Woods, who I'm not a fan of because he's a lighter, cheater, and a thief. But he was a hell of a golfer, and he still is. However, in the last 3 years, we've seen a person evolve from his cocoon to be the best player in the world right now, not just in this country, in the world, Scottie Scheffler. Now, if you watch, I watch a lot of golf because I like to watch swings because I was a good golfer for many years, but trying to emulate this guy is very difficult. He has almost a perfect swing. He's big, tall. He's 6'3". He has a big windup, and he just doesn't seem to miss the ball. Whether it's a drive, whether it's an iron from the fairway, or it's a chip shot, or it's a sand shot, or whatever, you know, this guy nails it. And he's got a caddy that's been with him for 5 years, and they sort of got this little thing going where his caddy will you know, Scotty will turn around and say, "You see anything?" And the caddy will say, "Well, I see this, I see that," and they'll make an adjustment, and they'll go ahead and complete the shot. But Scheffler's the kind of guy that hates to lose. And I think when we go back to the days of Tiger Woods, he hated to lose too. Yeah. He was a lousy interview when he lost. Scotty Scheffler is not quite as sour as Tiger is, but Scheffler is he's got. Look at now. There's so many good players on tour. Back when Tiger was playing, there's not near as many as there are now. You've got 150 guys out there. Every one of them is talented enough to win a tournament, period. Doesn't have to be the PGA or the US Open or whatever, they're all very good. And to beat those guys, you got to be someone like Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler, he thinks about this. This is how he thinks. He's going to play the golf course. He plays his shots on every hole. He doesn't look at the scoreboard. He doesn't ask his caddy. He said, who's creeping up on me? When you're a golfer, you don't play against other golfers. You play the golf course. If you play the golf course and shoot 68, you're going to be somewhere in the lead. If the final round, you don't want to look at the scoreboard and you shoot 68, chances are you're probably going to win. That's what Scheffler does. He beats himself up by hitting every shot on the pure, we call it. Every shot pure. He doesn't miss. And when he gets to the green, he's got a decent putting stroke. A couple of years ago, there were some guys criticizing him because he was a terrible putter. Well, you can't make every one of them. And you're not going to make one putt every single hole. Like 18 holes, you get 18 putts. That's absurd, of course. But Scheffler is so good, he's so mentally strong, to go with his physicality, that he can overpower the golf course and in turn overpower the rest of his competitors. There's not too many guys that can hang with him. Rory McIlroy, maybe John Ram. Not too many guys that can hang with Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, and looking at there's some other things that's been going on as well. He's the world #1 in last week's PGA Championship winner, and he was talking about golf courses as well here. He named Augusta National, TBC, Sawgrass, and Harbor Town. So to name courses that he likes from a strategic point of view, he said, quote, strategically, Augusta is really good. You still have to hit it far, like hitting it far is an advantage at Augusta, but the areas where you need to hit the ball are so small, and the big runoff areas, fairway around the green, I think is better in terms of shot making and creativity, and there's more stuff to that than if you just put heavy rough right off the side of every green, because then it becomes a competition of who gets a decent lie, end quote. Now, Sawgrass and Harbor Town, why he likes those, he said variety. He said if you look at Sawgrass, first hole, cut off a tee, draw into the green. Second hole, draw off a tee, cut into the green. Then it's cut and a draw, a cut on 5, draw on 6, draw on 7. You have to hit shots, end quote. And then unsurprisingly, he's won at all of those courses, which he admitted, quote, I feel silly, he said. Then that's what's unappealing to him in in course design, I should say. He said he's annoyed by the disappearance of trees. He said, quote, one of the reasons I would like to eventually get into some golf course design is because what they're doing to golf courses now I don't like. They take out all the trees and they make the greens bigger, and they typically make the fairways a little bigger as well. And so like the only real barrier to guys just trying to hit it as far as they basically want to or need to is trees. Like when you host a championship tournament, if there's no trees, you just hit it wherever you want, because if I miss a fairway by 10 yards, I'm in the thick rough, but I miss by 20, I'm in the crowd. So, end quote here. So what are your thoughts on him stating that, he doesn't like some of the course designs out there. He doesn't like the taking out of trees.
Well, golf course is supposed to be challenging to play. And there's 3 ways you usually play a golf course. You play the up tees, the middle tees, or the back tees, which are called the tips. Every pro plays the tips. The regular golfers play the middle tees or the front tees. Shots are different. You heard him say about moving the ball left to right, or right to left.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler started hitting balls when he was 5 years old. And one day, a gentleman by the name of Randy Smith who happens to be his coach. He started watching this guy who used to come out all the time and hit balls from the range. He didn't play at all. He was 7 friggin' years old. And he was hitting draws. He was hitting the fades. He was hitting them low. He was hitting them high. And he walked up to him and he says, young man, he says, how are you doing this? And he says, well, he says, I watch a lot of film and I read a lot. And he's right then and there. He says, I will coach you if you want me to. I am a professional. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I can do. I will make you into the world champion you are. And he still is. Randy Smith, the man behind Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler has a good team behind him. And I think all of these guys do. They have agents, they have coaches, they have wives and brothers and whatever, and they have a lot to do. They have a lot to try to take care of. But Scheffler, he doesn't care about that. He lets people take care of little areas of his business. All he wants to do is play golf. He'll be out with his caddy and his coach Randy Smith, and they'll hit balls. He's 28 years old now. So Randy Smith has been coaching him for 21 friggin' years.
Yeah.
And that's how he's so good. Randy Smith is a hell of a coach. Scotty Scheffler hits the ball. Then watching a golf tournament from the British Open or trees, all you have is a bunch. It's what on you drive the ball 400 yards because it rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls. To me, that's not challenging, and that's what Scheffler's alluding to. He likes to see the old time golf courses like Colonial or Royal Oak or some of these other ones that have stood the test of time. They maybe have moved the tees back a little bit. Maybe they shortened the fairways a little bit, alluding to the fact that if he hits the ball into the rough, you're lucky if whoever's got the luckiest ride is going to get the ball on the green. Yeah. But that also pertains to his short game, which is very good. So if he misses the green, he gets up and down, he gets a par or birdie, whatever. Scheffler is alluding to the fact that he wants to get into golf course management or design because he wants to see the old kind of golf courses that challenge a golfer. If you have a tree-lined hole and with maybe say 20 yards across in the fairway, and you hook the ball a little bit off the fairway, well, you're in the rough and then you're within the trees. Now you're talking luck. If I can get out, I can get to the green. If not, I get a pitch out to the fairway. That makes the course challenging. Some of these pros are so wimpy that they want it wide open. They want to hit it as far as they can. They want a wedge in their hand, and everyone's happy, happy, happy. Well, that's not what Scheffler wanted. Scheffler plays the good courses, the really, really, really good courses over the years. He plays them good. That's what he's referring to.
Yeah, and Scheffler, after we see him win in the PGA over the weekend, he is right back on it here. So, he is going to, after the PGA Championship, he's back on the PGA Tour to play in the Charles Schwab Challenge, which I believe starts today. So, from the Colonial Country Club, home of the event, Scheffler touched on a topic that never leaves the table, negotiations between the PGA Tour and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, PIF. In discussing the matter, the world number one was asked if he thought his results would have been different if the LIV Golf Stars competed with him on a weekly basis. He said, quote, "Who knows? I only get to compete against those guys 4 times a year. That was their choice, not mine. I've said it a few times this year. If you want to figure it out what's going to happen in the game of golf, go to the other tour and ask those guys. I'm still here playing the PGA Tour. We had a tour where we all played together, and the guys that left, it's their responsibility. I think to bring the tours back together, go to see where they're playing this week and ask them," end quote. Now, negotiations between the PGA Tour and the PIF began virtually from the inception of LIV Golf. Both organizations signed a framework agreement released on June 6, 2023. But although the issue even reached the office of the President of the United States earlier this year with President Trump, they have not agreed on anything. So Scheffler also talked a bit about his presence at Colonial, which is unusual as most players take a week off after winning a major championship. He said this, quote, "Coming off a major win, obviously there's a lot of emotion and stuff that comes with winning that golf tournament. But at the end of the day, I didn't just show up here at Fort Worth to just walk around and celebrate last week. I'm here for a reason. And that's not to play a couple of ceremonious rounds and then ride off in the sunset. I'm here for a reason. That's to compete, end quote. So thoughts on the fact that Scheffler's not taking a week off and saying, hey, I'm not here to do a little victory lap. I'm here to win. I'm here to compete and make it something. So thoughts on the fact that he didn't take time off after the PGA Championship, and we'll see him at the Colonial PJ, and also thoughts on the LIV and the PGA Tour finding a way to get these golfers back together.
Scotty could be a ball breaker. That's obvious when he makes those kind of comments. That's cool. But in terms of the Byron Nelson Classic at Colonial, another fabulous golf course, he lives. That's his home is in Texas, so he's not going to miss it. He's not going to make a tournament and catch it. Yeah. Now, if it was a podunk one from South Dakota or something like that, or maybe in Florida, he probably wouldn't play it. But he is going home to Texas, and that's what he wants to do. Now, besides, he's on a roll. I don't think he wants to stop, and he wouldn't stop unless he hurts his hand like he did over Christmas, which took him out of the early part of the year. I don't know how you hurt yourself at home carving up a turkey, but he's somehow cut himself and really had to take some time off. The LIV, which is the foreign-backed money league, they put a lot of money up to various players on the PGA and entice them to come and play on their league, which they're opening up. You will have only a 3-day through a three round score, not 4. You're not going to play every week. You play every other week, maybe every third week. And the purse for each tournament is $20 million.
Yeah.
Now, so they say, okay, well, then they tried to recruit players. They recruited Phil Mickelson, and he started recruiting other guys. DeChambeau was there, and Chris Koepka, Dustin Johnson. They took the money. Why? Because the LIV gave them not a performance, but a present for actually being in the league and playing. So Justin Johnson gets $100 million. Bubba Watson gets $150 million. Bryson DeChambeau gets $100 million. That's before they even tee it up. And they're only playing 3 rounds a week, and they're playing for a $20 million purse. The winner's share is $4 million. Now, Scotty Scheffler just won one of our major events with the PGA. His winner's share was $3.1 million, which is a lot of money. Let's face it. But in comparison to the LIV, their regular tournaments are $20 million, and the winner's share gets $4 million. The reason these guys are going over there is because of the money, not because of the play. And of course, you go around the world, you play different courses, see different cultures, different languages. It's a lot of fun, I'm sure. What the talking points here are: the PGA, the league itself, did not want to let these guys come back in to the U.S. and play on our tour now that they've left. Now, that's true, and that's still true. However, when you're dealing with 5 majors, I call them 5 majors, they should be eligible to play, and they are. At least that's what they're telling. So you had Koepka and DeChambeau, who almost won, and John Rahm, who almost won. They're here playing. They're playing the majors, the United States tour, not the LIV tour, but here. So they granted them the rights to come over and play. And that makes sense, because when you watch the PGA or the Masters or something like that, you want to see the 100 best players in the world play for that. Now, the next tournament coming up is the U.S. Open, and after that is the Open, which I call the British Open. Now, the U.S. Open, those same guys are going to be coming over here playing. DeChambeau, Justin Johnson, those guys who left the PGA Tour to take the money. They took the money, Daniel. They all can play. When they come back over here, are they going to be the same player? Maybe, maybe not. DeChambeau and Rahm look like they are. Johnson doesn't look like himself. Koepka hasn't won in a year. So there's a lot to be said about the difference of monies. Now, you're dealing with the LIV, which is Arab money, a lot of oil money, sheik money, whatever you want to call it. Money's money. If they're going to say, listen, we want you to come to our tour, we'll give you $100 million, then you can play. What are you going to say to that? I mean, come on. I mean, if you're a a young golfer, maybe you're real good, and you haven't really won a lot, and someone offers that, you're going to take it, of course. But the best players certainly are in this country, and it's harder to win this country than it is over there. I would suggest that the LAV has 40 players, maybe 25.
Papa Joe froze here for a second. Let's see if we can bring him back. So we got Papa Joe here frozen on screen. Talking about the LIV. Oh, there we go, PJ. So go ahead. You said you got about 25. You were talking.
What happened?
Yeah, no, you froze there for a second. You were talking about the players, and you said you have about 25, and then it froze.
Okay. When you're playing in an LIV tour, there's supposed to be 40 or 48 slots. I can't recall which one, but of those guys, probably 25 of them can compete to win a tournament. When you play on this tour, you got 100 guys that can win a golf tournament. And that's true. So you could have a couple of guys come out of the woodwork and shoot 65 and lead a tournament, and they'd be tough to beat. So the quality there is not quite the same, but the money certainly is. And if you've got these guys are going across the pond for the money, that's their prerogative.
Yeah, and to wrap up golf and this side of things here, and obviously the LIV came out with a lot of interesting things that they do, right? And having teams and having logos and different pieces of that, and the money, right? The amount of money that could be gained by it, and then the PGA saying you revoke your membership if you go and play in the LIV. So, you know, that old country club thing, if you go and play across the street, you cannot play for us. So it was just a very strange, you know, I mean, it was the PGA trying to flex their muscles, and then a bunch of American golfers saying, well, I can go play there and I can make a lot of money and I could see the world, so go pound salt. And that's what they did. So some of them left, some of them stayed. Hopefully they can find a way to make it work together and see how they can let this thing stand as one great opportunity, right? But we speak about standing, and the most popular Scheffler, not Scotty, his son, Bennett, who is 1 year old. Bennett stood up at this Quail Hollow event here, and the mastering the skill of being able to stand up, he did it there when Pops won the PGA Championship, and this is something pretty amazing. Bennett Scheffler was a breakout star at the PGA, and so we got to see him stand up, arguably the first time that he stood. So the 1 year old joining his dad, signing the scorecard, and even looking through the yardage book. In 12 months, Bennett has been part of wins at the Memorial, the Travelers, the Tour Championship, the CJ Cup, and the PGA. Also an Olympic gold for good measure. So a lot of things that this young man has seen in just 12 months of being alive. So that's pretty special here. So Scotty, just so you know, and I'm sure you already do, the most important Scheffler to the world right now is little Bennett, who's had a heck of a first 12 months on the planet.
If you remember last year, Scheffler was at the PGA in maybe Oklahoma or something like that, and he was friggin' arrested.
Yeah.
It was stupid. Some little policeman got overzealous and fabricated some issues, and you see the number one player in the world in cuffs going to the police station. I mean, and then of course everything came out, and he was exonerated of everything. It was you know, that alone, and his wife was pregnant with a little Bennett. So that was just a year anniversary. Certainly, it made him feel better. And it stands to reason he would win because little Bennett was going to be 1 year old. You're true. Scotty Scheffler has a big team behind him, but when it comes to playing golf, it's him and his coach and his caddy. That's it.
Yeah,
he's the man.
So a great first 12 months for Bennett, and a great career so far for Mr. Scotty Scheffler, who's a fan favorite. Shout out to my buddy James and his family, who went to Quail Hollow in the Charlotte, North Carolina area and went and saw this event happen in front of their own eyes. So really cool to see that. PJ, if you could go to any PGA Tour event, if you could go to anywhere during the year, where would you go? As a golfing fan, where would you want to be?
Well, I've been to the best one, which is Sawgrass right here in St. Augustine. The Players Championship is held every year at Sawgrass, a little town called Ponte Vedra north of St. Augustine. It's a 30-minute drive. They do things right there. The course is immaculate. It's long and tough. And I don't have to go across the pond to see the British Open, or I don't have to go see the PGA in some other town. I got it right here in St. Augustine. And I have a brother-in-law who I was a golfing fan also, and he's come down a few times, and I got to treat him to that treat. It's nice to see these things on television, but up close and personal, it's hard for me to traverse it because I can't. So I have to either take my buggy, my motorized buggy, or I take my little push buggy. So either one of those is hard for me. So what I like to do is what I've done in the past, certainly, is I'll take my little chair and I'll sit behind where they're practicing in the practice area, and I'll sit there and I'll watch swings and swings and swings and swings. Myself being a good golfer for many years, I am not anywhere close in the class of these guys. I mean, I'm talking 40 years ago. I wasn't anywhere close. When I was playing, you had to. I was thinking about going pro, but not that kind of pro. I wanted to be a club pro. I wanted to be that. And then I talked to some guys, some pros. And they say, Joe, what's the best round you shot at your golf course? I said, 70 a couple times. They look at me and they say, hey, if you can't see 65 or 64 on your own course, you don't need to be in this business. And that shut me right up. So and I still haven't, anyway, I haven't played in years anyway. I don't think I ever will again, certainly. But the answer to your question is that Ponte Vedra here, the Players Tournament is the best, to me, the best tournament there is, because it gets everyone together, including the U.S. Open and everyone. So I like that the best.
Yeah, that coming from Papa Joe. Speaking on golf, we're going to take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Hour 2 will be dedicated to baseball, but I will leave you with this before we take a step aside. When people ask me about my golf game, I say I golf like I drive, baby, 90. So we'll take a step aside, and we'll be back right after this. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allow customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Proud to be here with you as always every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and always thankful to have you here with us. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, pardon me. And when you go there Monday through Saturday for sales and service, you can see their lot of new and used vehicles. I drove there recently over the last few days here and saw that a lot of the cars have come off of the lot. So make sure you get yourself to Great Lakes Honda City today to make sure that you get the car you want in the color that you want from the wonderful team at Great Lakes Honda City. You could find out everything that they have to offer by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Let them know that DT sent you. Papa Joe is here with me, picture in picture. And we're driving throughout this show this morning. We spoke on the world of the NFL and saving that tush, which is very important. We also talked about the PJA with Papa Joe and speaking on the golf world. And now it's time to go to the Major League Baseball front. Papa Joe, we're looking at a season here. I did a lot of baseball topics. Alvarado for the Phillies has been banned. He cannot come back until August, so we're not going to see him for a while. And even if he comes back in August, he can't play in the postseason. We got into a bunch of other elements of what's going on this season earlier on in the week. Spoke about Clayton Kershaw coming back, the firing of Brandon Hyde with the Baltimore Orioles. Ohtani pitching, went and did a 50-pitch session. And so we got into a lot of different elements of what's going on in the diamond, and now I unleash you. So we'll reach into certain parts of these areas and get some thoughts that you have on some of these things. But I know that in the baseball world, Papa Joe keeps us fresh with everything that's going on in the standings, as well as who is performing and who is not. So with that being said, PJ, take it away.
Thank you, Dan. A lot to say. I'm just going to go through my stats first, and then I'll reflect on some other things that I've come up with. Let's start with the standings in American League East. The Yankees are 29-19. Toronto's second place, 5 games back. Boston's 5.5 back. Tampa's 6.5 back. Baltimore, 13 back. I got something to say about Baltimore after this, my rundown. Terrible. All right, the Central Division got Detroit at 33-17. I also got something to say about Detroit. They are the best team in baseball right now. Minnesota's 5.5 back, as is KC. Cleveland's 6 back, and Chicago White Sox are awful at 18 back. That's no surprise. Mm-hmm. In the West, this is a surprise. Seattle's 28-20. They're leading Houston by 3.5. Texas by 4. LA by 5. And the Athletics are playing decent ball, but they're 7 games back. Not going to go anywhere. All right. Okay, average-wise, let's talk about Aaron Judge. Somehow, after all these games, beginning of the season, he's hitting over 400. Which, folks, it's look at George Brett couldn't hit 400, and he tried. Judge, of course, won't hit 400 for the year, but he's there now, and he's got a buddy of his, Paul Goldschmidt, who's hitting 339 in the Yankees. Those guys are leading the league in average. Home runs, Judge, of course, has 16. RBIs, Judge has 44. Something curious behind him, Rafael Devers was making a lot of noise because he didn't want to go to right field. He wanted to be a DH. Got 39 RBIs. The guy that took his place, Alex Brednick, he's got 35 RBIs. So Devers is very happy right now DHing, but he's not going to play another position. I don't get that. You know, if you're the owners or managers of these teams, you know, I want you to play such and such. Yeah. Don't conversation. Go out and do it. You know, these guys are so coddled that they can only do one thing. Devers lost his third base job to Bregman.
Yeah.
When they signed Bregman.
Yeah.
Now Devers is pissed off because he doesn't want to do anything else but hit, and he hits very well. But you know, I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel about him. One loss, you got Max Fried of the Yankees. He got 6. Hunter Brown from Houston's got 6. Max Fried came from Atlanta. You remember, he's a nasty lefty, and he is filthy. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
He spun the Mets around last week. Ridiculously easy stuff. He's leading the ERA at 1.29. Chris Brubeck from KC's got a 1.47. Saves, Andrea Munoz from Seattle at 16. I guess that's why they're in the first base. Let's go to the National League East. Phillies lead 31-18. The Mets are 1.5 back. Atlanta 6.5 back. Washington 9 back. Miami not playing bad. They're 11.5 back. They're not going anywhere, as is Washington. So, you know, you're talking about the 3 best teams in the East are going to battle it out. Philly should prevail because they have pitching, and I'll get to that later. The Central Division got the Cubs leading 30-20. St. Louis is 3 back. Cincinnati 5.5 back. Milwaukee 6 back. Pittsburgh 17-33. They're 13 back. and Pittsburgh lost their coach. I got something to say about that later too. If you remember last year, I talked critically about the Cubs because the best manager in the division, Greg Counsell, was from Milwaukee, left Milwaukee to go to the Cubs for $8 million a year, be their manager. Well, last year he laid an egg. This year he's not doing, he's really good, and he's got some good players. He's finally got the players on his team that will play for him the way he wants to play. Last year it didn't quite work. This year it will. I know I should get LA at 31-19. The rest of this league is this league is just awesome. San Francisco's 2 back, San Diego 2.5 back, Arizona 5 back. Colorado lost their coach again. Got something to say about that later. They're 22.5 back, not going anywhere. The rarefied air is not doing very good at all. These 3 guys, LA, San Francisco, San Diego, are going to battle it out along with Arizona. I got something to say about that later. The average Freddie Freeman of the Dodgers is hitting 368. The battery mate, catcher Will Smith, is hitting 339. The Dodgers should not lose this division. However, it'll be competitive. Home runs, Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies. He's got 17 along with Ohtani. RBI, Selva, Suarez, Suzuki for the Cubs. He's got 43. That's why they're in first place. One loss, you got Brandon Fett, which I can't pronounce that, of the Arizona's got 7 wins.
Brandon Fott.
Yeah. ERA, Kodai Senga. The Mets is 1.43. Robert Suarez is lead from San Diego's leading in saves with 15. Something else here before I get into something else, which I usually do. The team batting in the American League, the New York Yankees are leading with an average of 260. Detroit, second back at 259. Pitching-wise, the team pitching is led by Kansas City with a 3.03 ERA. Flip to the National League. The team batting leader, no surprise, is LA at 267, Philly at 265. Team pitching, surprise here, the Mets are leading the league with a 2.82 ERA. Well, there's so much to talk about with things that have happened that you mentioned earlier. Losing 3 managers already is not easy to overcome. The thing that bothers me is that Baltimore last year had an excellent team. They were well coached. They played the best. They almost won it all. And I predicted them to win their division. I don't think that they can do it this year, but I know they're going to play better. But for some reason, they get rid of the manager.
Yeah.
Why they do that? I mean, look, teams are going to lose 8 or 10 in a row every once in a while and win 5 or 6 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason you get rid of your manager is if the guys are not playing up to snuff or he's making bad decisions. Look at Hyde's a hell of a coach, and someone's going to pick him up. But Baltimore's 13 games back, and that ain't going to make it. Now, they got Colorado with Bud Black, has been around there for years. It's difficult to win in Colorado because he doesn't have the players.
Yeah.
And I guess it was a little bit too much to talk about. Pittsburgh, Derek Shelton was a good manager. Players not playing up to potential. They got the best new young pitcher in baseball, Paul Skynes from LSU, who throws 100 miles an hour. He doesn't have a winning record, and neither does Pittsburgh. So that's not going anywhere. One thing I want to bring up, but I'll mention it before I get started on something else. I noticed a couple of days ago, I was watching a Mets game at Boston, and Juan Soto was up to plate. He smashes one to the left field. It looks like it's going to be a home run. He stops and looks at it, and the ball hit the fence. If you're familiar with Fenway Park, there's a fence that's 50 feet high. You got to hit it over that. If you hit it on the wall, you know you're going to get a double. So what does he do? He lollygobs to first base, doesn't leg it out, doesn't leg out a double, and subsequently the Mets are out of that inning. That you can't have. I don't care if the guy makes $700 million or $7. You got to run him out. And he should be, frankly, I wish We should suspend him for a couple of days. But their manager isn't going to do that because the press will be all over him. Soto's a punk. He was a punk when he was with Washington. But he's getting the big money because he's a hell of a hitter. He plays a decent right field. So I'm going to take a break there.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a bunch of different points. And Devers, as you said, where he's at, the fact that he is not that he lost his job to Bregman. And Murph brought it up on Monday. He was like, hey, you play where they tell you to play. You lost your job. You're getting paid a lot of money. You go where they tell you to go. And so, I mean, there's been conversations of other pitchers too. People, in the pitching world of, well, I'm a starting pitcher. So if I go to this team, I'm a starting pitcher. You're not going to take me off the bench and have me relieve anybody. I start. That's what I do. And so you see this, and I think to myself, number one, if I have a team and I put this team together and I find that the best piece here, I might have to move a piece out to put the best piece in. If I still have that piece and that piece is under contract and I'm trying to find a place for that piece and I'm paying that piece millions and millions of dollars, you don't get to come into my office and tell me, well, you moved me off at third base. I'm a third baseman. I would look at the thing and say, well, I'm sorry. We owe you $37 million this year. So I'm not going to let $37 million sit on my bench. Either you do something for me or you go on Nicolette, get the getting. I mean, that's what we do. You either stay or I let you go. But you're not going to sit here for millions of dollars because there's no return on my investment if you sit and watch. And you're not a team player if you sit and watch. See, some people, and I'm not trying to say Devers or Soto or anything like that, but I'm just stating a fact here. Some people are in a situation where some people just don't care. They don't care about the team. They don't care about everybody else. It's about them. And I've been in locker rooms where this has existed. I've been in the Jacksonville locker room and I gave people a cautionary tale years in advance about Jalen Ramsey, Yannick Ngakoue, Marcel Darius, and Telvin Smith. And I also told people about Calais Campbell and A.J. Boye and the guys that never created any issues that were very good at their job. And humble and hardworking. A.J. Boye comes into the locker room after taking a shower. Nobody knew he was there. Jalen Ramsey comes in after taking a shower. Everybody knows he's there because he wants the attention. Some of these players say, I'm talented. I'm good. I got it. Right? And they got paid the money. And some guys get paid the money and they quit. Well, I'm going to make the money no matter what. This is what you guaranteed me. So I'm going to make it whether I try or I don't try. So some people live in that world. Other people say, I'm going to earn my keep. Yeah, I got paid, but now I got to show it, right? I got the raise, but I can still get fired. And so if I was a manager right now, I'd be looking at a situation and saying to myself, are you giving your full effort? Are you doing what needs to be done for the greater good of the team? I would rather take a bunch of ragtag guys and put them together that fight for each other than have a couple superstars that decide that they're going to play every third game. But those other two games, they're just going to kind of wing it. So I want to get to something here, PJ, because going off of that statement, but also kind of living in that statement, Brandon Hyde is fired, right? He's fired from the Orioles. I'm going to tell you what he's done with the Orioles. And then I want to get into the fact that a manager is going to get fired for how the players are playing, but I want to focus on something that Brendan brought up at the beginning of the week because I thought it was fantastic. And it speaks to very factual evidence in the stat sheet. So Brandon Hyde, from my point of view, and letting you know where he was at, when he came into the Orioles, they went 54-108. In COVID, they went 25-35 in a shortened season. Then they went 52-110 in 2021. In 2022, the script got flipped. And Brandon Hyde managing the Orioles went 83-79. Then they went 101-61. Then they went 91-71. This year they're 15-28. Now they fire Brandon Hyde after flipping the script and having 3 strong seasons in a row and getting to the postseason and winning the AL East and being the number 1 seed in the entire American League within these last few seasons. Now I'm going to let you know about their pitching. Tomoyuki Sugano, as a pitcher this year, 4-3. His ERA, 3.07. Dean Kramer, 3-5. His ERA, 5.50. Cade Povich, his record, 1-3. His ERA, 5.23. Zach Eflin, these are all their starting pitchers, is the rotation for the Orioles. Zach Eflin, a record of 3-2, ERA 5.08. Charlie Morton, record 0-7, ERA 7.68. PJ, Brandon Hyde gets fired, but the Orioles pitching is awful. Outside of one of their starting pitchers having an ERA of 3.07, everybody else has an ERA of 5 or more. One of them's heading toward an ERA of 8. So did Brandon Hyde get fired, in your opinion, in a season where the pitching is just plain awful?
Well, it all starts with the pitching coach, and I would suggest to the Orioles that they probably started there. You probably should have tossed the pitching coach, maybe the assistant pitching coach, and come up with something. Hyde certainly should not have been challenged at all. He has 5 guys that are in their early and mid 20s that play the positions, are super players. It wasn't connecting for some reason. I really suggest that Baltimore made the wrong move here. I certainly would have gone out with a pitching coach and see if they could find another pitching coach a little bit better and tweak some of the guys. You heard me say it over years, Daniel. You win pennants with pitching and defense. Baltimore certainly has the offense. Their shortstop is unbelievable, Henderson. He made some plays the other night. It was absolutely ridiculous. And you win with pitching and defense. And you do that, and you're probably going to be very close to winning your division or at least making the playoffs. Now, there are some areas I'm going to cover in a little bit about some of the areas or some of the teams that are making a move this year that we didn't see coming.
Yeah,
I didn't see coming. However, first, before we do that, Bud Black probably, maybe he outlived his usefulness in Colorado.
Yeah.
Derek Shelton at Pittsburgh, I'm not so sure he should have been fired either. But when you got the best young arm in baseball and Forrest Guines, and almost, he's almost unhittable sometimes, but he's got a losing record also, and he's still got a decent ERA. But you can't win with just one pitcher. You got to have more than that, obviously. But when you're setting up a club to make the long run, because it's 162 games, you got to have very important people with you.
Yeah.
What I'm going to give you is what I feel are the front runners for the American League and National League MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year. And you'll see where I'm going with this. In American League, there's no question about this is a no-brainer. No one else but Aaron Judge is hitting .402 with 16 homers and 44 RBIs. He's not human. He's unconscious. He's 6'7" and 275 pounds and can steal bases. Go figure that one out, people. Cy Young Award, you heard me mention him earlier. Hunter Brown from Houston got 6 wins, but he's also got a really microscopic 2.04 ERA. For my Rookie of the Year, you got Jacob Wilson as a shortstop for the Athletics of all team. My goodness. He's hitting .341, 5 homers, and 26 RBIs. Go to the National League. The MVP, you're going to like this one, Daniel. My MVP right now is Corbin Carroll of Zona.
Let's go.
He's hitting .278,
Yeah.
15 homers, 34 RBIs. Now, keep in mind, this is a little guy. He's not a big guy.
Yeah.
For him to have 15 homers, he's right on the ball. For pitching for my Cy Young Award, I got Zach Wheeler from Philly,
Yeah.
our man down at your your area down in Pennsylvania, he'll like this. He's got 5 wins. He's 2.67 ERA. But Philly has 3 really good pitchers: Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, and Aaron Nola. Those guys should carry Philly like they did last year. My rookie of the year for the National League is Anthony Smith Shower, a pitcher with Atlanta.
Okay.
I don't know where this guy came from. I had to look him up. He's only had 7 starts, a 3-2 record, 2.38 ERA. These guys come out of the woodwork. I mean, you draft to play later, and that's what you do. I'm going to take a break on that one because I got more after that.
Yeah, I want to go back to the firing of Brandon Hyde here for a second, just to make a note of the fact that they did not get rid of their pitching coach. So they fired field coordinator and catching instructor Tim Cossins. Third base coach Tony Mansolino is the interim manager right now. Nice Italian name. But they don't fire the pitching coach. I look at the Orioles and I really just sit here and pause because, listen, the Rockies, they've not been competitive for a very long time. The Pirates, for the most, have not really been competitive either. I remember growing up as a kid, they might have had some moments. Paul Skeens, pitching for them now, there's something there. But the Pirates haven't been a great franchise. They haven't gotten out of their own division. Yes, last year they had signs of rays of hope, but didn't amount to anything. They didn't make the postseason. You look at the Colorado Rockies, you fire your manager who had over 100 more losses than wins, and he was the winningest manager in your history. So your best manager in the history of your franchise had a losing record of over 100 more losses than wins. So you don't have a manager that has a winning record in your history? When you look at the Rockies and you look at the Pirates, I understand, hey, we're floundering. But you've been floundering. So you have to go beyond wins and losses. You have to go beyond what's happening. And I've spoken with people that make decisions in the athletic world, and I actually had a conversation over lunch this week with a gentleman, and I said, when you're hiring and firing, like when you're looking at this, you have to go beyond wins and losses. So what else do you look at? And I got his point of view of the other things that he puts into the equation of when he's deciding if I'm going to keep a coach or not. And I just wonder, with the Rockies, you got to go beyond the record, right? Because none of your managers did better than the guy you just fired. And with the Pirates, you say, okay, we had a time last year where we were pushing to make the playoffs. We had a time last year where we were maybe a hot team. We looked good. We have Skeens. And we got Skeens for a little while, right? We made a good decision in the draft. We got Paul Skeens, and now we have him until this contract's up. Like the Angels with Shohei Ohtani, you have all these years with him, and as good as he is, you still have him. So I don't know if that was the right time to make a move with the Pirates. And with the Rockies, they haven't really ever truly gotten out of the basement and stayed out of the basement, right? So those are two franchises where I say, what did you look at beyond the fact that you just didn't have a good start? In the case of the Orioles, I just find this to be stupid. And I find it to be a knee-jerk reaction. At the time of the firing, I think that they were 43 games into a 162-game season. So, PJ, of the management shifts that we've seen and the changes that we've seen, I just don't know what the Orioles are thinking because, remember, a few years back they were terrible. Then they would start off this season and they would win 10 or 15 games early and you'd be like, oh, okay, maybe they're going to be good. And then they drop off. So they went from terrible to strong start, but still terrible. Then they turned into playoff contender. Then they turned into best team in the AL East. Then they turned into best team in the American League, but they haven't been winning in the postseason. So they've been taking steps under Brandon Hyde. You would imagine that the next step is to win a series. And now instead of taking the next step with the guy that helped them take all these other steps, now they got an interim guy and hoping that their future is going to be with somebody else. I just don't understand the Orioles front office seeing that under Brandon Hyde, this team went from a non-factor, bottom of the barrel, 5th out of 5 of the AL East to winning the entire American League, to now saying, well, the first 43 games didn't look good, so see you later.
You're right, and Brandon Hyde certainly should not have been fired. However, the wins and losses are on the field. Managers, they maybe win or lose 7 or 8 games over the years. Mostly the guys on the field are the ones that carry the torch.
Yeah.
Brandon Hyde proved himself to be a team builder, and he brought on these guys, the Mount Castles and all the rest of these kids, Garrett Henderson, Gunnar Henderson. He brought all these guys in, and they're excellent players, not good players, excellent players. And they should be better, of course they be. Now, I hope that I'm not going to go out on the limb and say, well, Papa Jay, last week you said Baltimore is going, or 2 weeks ago, you said Baltimore is going to win a division. That's what I said. But before all this stuff happened. I don't think that anymore, but that doesn't mean they can't be a good football team or baseball team. So there's various areas that managers and front office people check into. Yeah. And that's their farm system. Are there any players down in the Baltimore's farm system to help them pitch? I don't know that. They certainly don't need the position players, because their position players are good, excellent position players. So if they figure it out and they come out, maybe they win 8 out of 10 games and they're rocking and rolling now and they're much better. But that doesn't help Mr. Hyde. But he'll find a job somewhere, no doubt about it. He's a really good coach. And, I equate Baltimore's rising with the team that I think is the best team in baseball right now. Not the Dodgers, it's the Detroit Tigers. Now, a month ago, I didn't see this coming on. And I waited, and I kept looking, and I kept watching my TV. I got my Major League package all over the place. I'm trying to pick up Detroit, and I'm watching, and they are playing the best. Yeah. And there's a reason for that. Is because 3 years ago, they started building this team for right now. Mm-hmm. And they got some players. They got 3 excellent players in the top 15 that are probably going to make the club, not this year, but maybe next year. But Detroit is led by Riley Green, who hits .287, 12 homers, 34 RBIs. Spencer Torkelson, .249, 12 homers, 39 RBIs. Yeah. Kerry Carpenter's .278, 10 homers, and 32 RBIs. Now, those are the guys that are rocking and rolling and hitting. Then you got Terry Skubal, who last year Cy Young Award winner. He's 4-2 this year with a 2.87 ERA. That'll be a lot lower. And they've got a guy that just popped up named Casey Mize. He's got 6 wins with a 2.53 ERA. 3 or 4 years ago, Daniel, that's where they started when Baltimore started. Yeah. Baltimore's floundering. Detroit is not floundering. That's why Detroit is the best team in baseball right now.
Yeah, and like you said, it builds over time. And Baltimore has been building over time, but their pitching has been atrocious. And again, in the firing of Brandon Hyde and in this time period, I read off to you the ERAs. 3.07 is the best. Everybody else in the starting pitching rotation is 5 in an ERA, 5 or worse. And one of their starting pitchers is 0-7 with an ERA of 7.68. So let's just be real about that. You can hit all you want to hit, but when your pitching rotation is that bad, what are you going to do? Because pitching and defense, as PJ will tell you, and I will echo, that's how you win championships. We will take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how PJ just surprised me, because I don't know his notes before the show. He doesn't know mine. I don't know his. We just talk. And he said something big about an Arizona Diamondback and Corbin Carroll. So I want to know why PJ said what he said. We'll talk about that and more baseball right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Right off of Teal Ave, you will find hockey, soccer, basketball, football, baseball, and more, including Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and all of the supplies you need to protect your cards and be able to travel with your cards, showcase them. There's so many great things at GG Cards and Breaks, and the best thing about GG Cards and Breaks is that they help us stay big kids forever. They give you that wonderful atmosphere that will fan the flame of a big kid spirit. So no matter how old you are, no matter if you've ever collected cards before, this is your first time doing it, GG Cards and Breaks keeps it fun, makes it interesting, and truly brings the community together. I cannot thank them enough for all the work that they do and how wonderful it is to just go into GG Cards and Breaks and feel completely at home. So thank you to the staff. It starts with Josh and Anthony, and it goes all throughout the staff at GG Cards and Breaks. Having fun, being a big kid, collecting your favorite player, your favorite team, as well as your favorite characters and your favorite trading card games, all in one place at GG Cards and Breaks. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Papa Joe with us talking baseball in hour number 2 of today's show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. PJ surprised me today by saying that Corbin Carroll has gotten a little highlight in PJ's notes, and I want to know why. So, PJ, Corbin Carroll, you said some big words about him. Why?
Well, he's finally playing the way he should play. Last year, I was ragging him an awful lot because he wasn't even hitting him above the Mendoza line, which is 200.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, he was the apple of everyone's eye because he was young, rookie, playing well. Last year, he got the sophomoritis. He couldn't do anything right. He did play a lot better later on in the year. But Corbin is a leadoff hitter, and I know he's got to be the table setter, and they got some power behind him. I'm gonna say that Arizona is my favorite right now with LA in their division. I think that rivalry between LA and Zona is going to be extremely fun to watch. Say nothing bad about San Francisco or San Diego. They're all good teams. Yeah. But LA and Zona got a little edge to them when they play, and I like that. And Corbin Carroll hitting 278 this year with 15 homers and 34 RBIs. He is my lead player for MVP in the National League. He's playing that good.
Yeah.
And backing him up is Eugenio Suarez hitting 219, 14 homers and 38 RBIs. Those guys are going to be carrying the offense. Now, Arizona is going to be competitive because of Brian Fedett at 7 wins, 3.81 ERA. Merrill Kelly, 5 wins, 3.26 ERA. And Zach Gallen is not pitching very well. He's got a 3-5 record, but 5.14 ERA. Folks, that's going to change because he's too good. So look for him to carry the second half of the year. The teams themselves, the players themselves, just like I did for Detroit in the American League, Arizona is the team that I like in the National League. It's kind of surprised everyone because last year they didn't put it all together, and certainly Corbin Carroll didn't. But as you see, if Corbin Carroll's playing the kind of ball he is, it's a lot to put on a young guy. Let's face it. I mean, to say I'm going to be hit leadoff for one of the best teams in baseball and I got to shine, well, some guys can adapt to that and some guys can't. This year, he is. And I'm happy to say that Arizona, along with LA, are going to be battling it out. And Arizona is my favorite team in the National League as opposed to Detroit for the back in the American League. Corbin Carroll is the real deal, Daniel.
I love it. And I just so happen to be wearing my Serpientes shirt, which is the Hispanic heritage connection here to the Diamondbacks, and my Diamondback that's right here. And we're talking about Corbin Carroll. I don't think PJ's seen these, but I have right off my shoulder here in the studio, there's the D-backs section, which is right here, and with my D-backs towel, and it also says the sign that says hope makes the impossible possible. I want to let everybody know my mom got me that sign years and years ago when I graduated college for my first apartment, which was in Dunmore, Pennsylvania, down the road of where I graduated, Marywood University in Scranton. My mom got me that sign, hope makes the impossible possible. And I have stared at that sign and utilized that sign's message to help me through many, many things in my life, in my trust, in my faith, in my hope in God's plan. So that sign means more to me than I can tell you. And right below that sign are 3 cards. And they're all graded 10 out of 10. This is the Bowman First, which means it's the first printed card of Corbin Carroll as a Diamondback. It is graded a 10 out of 10, and so I have a Corbin Carroll card there of him coming into the league. I also have a Chrome rookie card rated 10 out of 10 of Corbin, or graded 10 out of 10, I should say, of Corbin Carroll. And this is the best one. This one, he looks like a little kid. This is a PSA Gem Mint 10 out of 10 grading Corbin Carroll prospect autographed card of Mr. Carroll. So that is a 10 out of 10 autographed. And these Corbin Carroll cards sit in unison right off my shoulder every day in the studio. As I told you all, every piece of the studio has a specific meaning. There's nothing in my studio that comes without having a meaning. So PJ, your thoughts on that? Your thoughts on my Corbin Carroll trio that I got a bunch of other ones, but my autograph and my graded, they're all graded 10 out of 10.
That's good. I mean, I know you and my meatball get together on these card things every once in a while. It's a lot of fun for you guys.
Yeah.
I think you got a good collection going, and certainly you got a good one with Carroll. But it's the beginning of the year, and maybe I'm putting a lot of pressure on him because PJ is making him the favorite for the National League MVP. So
yeah.
if he's hearing this, Corbin, you've got a lot to play for, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, PJ, I want to get your thoughts on. I know there were some other areas that you want to go to. We spoke about management. We obviously went through the standings and whatnot. Where else in baseball? I do have a topic that I'd like to bring up. We haven't brought up yet, but where else would you like to go?
I'm good. I have everything in my notes that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Especially the teams that are playing well. Oh, I tell you what, last night I had to watch Yankees and Rangers last night. I had to stay up to watch it because DeGrom was pitching. And he was pitching against Ryan Yarbrough of the Yankees. They threw bullets at each other's. After 5 innings, they gave up no runs. Each guy struck up 8 or 9 guys. They eventually, I think DeGrom wound up pitching 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts. You got a 2.33 ERA. Yarbrough pitched 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, and a 3.38 ERA. And Corey Seager did not play for the Rangers because he got a hamstring problem. But watching DeGrom play and throw was like I remember when he was with the Mets years ago. He looks the same, big, tall, strong, string bean kind of guy. Daniel, he was bringing 98, 99, 100 miles an hour. And it was good to watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, no, I was just going to say, seeing, DeGrom back on there means the world to me, and I'm very happy. By the way, if people don't know, DeGrom has one of the best signatures in baseball, and sometimes when he signs it, it actually looks like a butterfly, so it's really, really cool. I do want to get to this topic that I saw here this morning in the studio. Casey Wasserman, optimistic that Major League Baseball will get involved in the 2028 Olympic Games. So let's get into this. So the organizers of the Los Angeles Olympics remain optimistic that Major League Baseball will find a way to join the National Football League in sending the world's best athletes in their respective sports to the 2028 Games. LA28 President and Chairman Casey Wasserman said he's been in close contact with Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred about the decision that must be made by both the league and the players' union on whether to send players to the Olympics in the middle of the 2028 baseball season. Now, there's no timetable for this decision, but Wasserman said, quote, "It's the right thing for the sport of baseball, it's the right thing for the players, and it's certainly the right thing for the Olympics. I think when things make sense for everybody, you can usually find a way to get things done," end quote. Now, LA28 looked at last week NFL owners' unanimous decision to approve the players' participation in the inaugural Olympic flag football event, with Wasserman calling it, quote-unquote, an awesome day. But keep in mind that a baseball player competing in baseball in the Olympics is different than a football player competing in a non-contact flag football game. So flag football, which I've played, can be contact, it can get physical, it does have its moments, and obviously you can still get injured on the field, but it's a lot different than wearing pads and hitting each other at 100 miles an hour and trying to throw each other out of bounds. Now, looking at baseball can't simply look at the NFL and say, well, players get to do it in the NFL, so MLB should do it, because it's not the same thing here. We're not talking about a different style of baseball. So Wasserman said, quote, "We're very engaged with the commissioner. I talked to him in anticipation of the NFL announcement, so they knew it was coming. They have a different challenge because it's the middle of the season, but we are very engaged in ongoing discussions with the hopes to get a good result," end quote. Now, Players Union head Tony Clark said his players want to vie for Olympic gold, particularly those who got a taste of international competition in previous World Baseball Classics. Several superstars have expressed public interest in playing in the Los Angeles Olympic Tournament, including Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. The decision, though, is much tougher because the Olympics fall in the middle of the Major League Baseball season, which would have to deal with scheduling changes similar to the quadrennial disruption of the NHL season when the league participates in the Winter Olympics. Baseball also isn't a pillar of the Olympic program like ice hockey, being only intermittently included in the summer games for decades. Now, the NFL players who made their nation's 10-man flag football teams, or the NFL players who make their nation's 10-man flag football teams, are unlikely to miss more than a few days of training camp in July of 2028, but Major League Baseball would have to make an adjustment to this. Now, Manfred spoke about the decision last month in New York at a meeting of the Associated Press sports editors. Wasserman has been pitching Manfred for over a year on the benefits of putting it together. Manfred said, quote, "It's a complicated issue for us. Lots of major league players would be involved because of the different countries that would likely be involved. Massively disruptive to our season given the timing, and we're trying to sort through all that. We do see LA 28 as a real opportunity from a marketing perspective." End quote. So, PJ, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. LA 28, right? The Olympics coming to America. Your thoughts. In the middle of baseball season, do you want to see baseball players from America, as well as other countries, go and vie for Olympic gold in the middle of the 2028 season?
Not going to work, Daniel. Not going to work. Sure, the other countries can. I'm not sure they can do it either because they get half the rosters these days are foreign kids. Not going to work. First of all, they're never going to get out of playing in the summer, which the National League owners or the Major League owners, that's where they make their money. 50,000 people a day coming in, buying their hot dogs and hamburgers and things. Not going to work. Besides, if they do try to figure out the logistics of this thing, knowing the ball players, they're going to say, I want to get paid then too. So not only are they going to get paid playing baseball, if they take some time out to play for the Olympics, they want to get paid again. That's just my thought on that. But I don't see logistically, I don't think, Daniel, that could work. I'd love to see it, but not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, it is something. But, you know, there's this side of it that's really special, right? That we're talking about it, and if there's interest in it, from the basketball point of view, it's the opposite. From the basketball point of view with the NBA, it used to be an honor to represent your country and a fight for gold. And we had the Dream Team in '92. Nowadays, it's like our Olympic team for America is taking the fourth best option in the NBA because the first guy said no, and the second guy said no, and the third guy said no. And so, you know, I mean, you got basketball where it feels like they don't appreciate it like they used to, and they're so worried about injury or travel or whatever it may be. Whereas with baseball, there's an interest of like, should we do this? And I think it would be really interesting if we could find a way out to do it. But keep in mind, PJ, if the baseball season continues in the majors in 2028, there's two options that they can do. They can either play through the season and the players that aren't there, whatever country they represent, or they could play half the season, take a break for the Olympics, and then pick up the season and just have an extended season that year. Same amount of games, but maybe they just go a little bit farther. So those are the two options that I see happening. But how crazy would it be if they did the first option, where they said, hey, we're going to do the 2028 season, run it as usual, and whoever wants to play for their country can go play for their country. Think about how that would drastically potentially change the standings and the postseason. If Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, if there's a bunch of these guys, Yamamoto, if there's a bunch of these guys that decide to leave and go play for their other countries and go play for America, think about how that could drastically change things, and teams that have their full roster could maybe get up the standings because some of the Phillies aren't there, some of the Mets aren't there, some of the Yankees aren't there, some of the Dodgers aren't there. Think about how that could shake up baseball and give us a different playoff picture in 2028.
Yes, those are interesting points, but I still don't see it happening. I wouldn't want to see it happen like that. I don't want to see them take that momentum of the season and take 2 months off or a month off and go play baseball. Besides, I don't think the Americans can field a team without Japanese or Puerto Rican or whatever. You know, it's going to be a tough deal to fill. Yeah. It's an interesting concept. But I think that's as far as it goes. I think, Daniel. I'm going to be narrow-minded about it because I just know the players are going to want to play for more money. Yeah. And the owners are too greedy. They're not going to give up their summer dates for the Olympics. Not going to happen.
Here's the big question, PJ. Are the players more likely to play in the Olympics, or are the baseball players more likely to go to the LIV and make some of that Saudi Arabian money in a golf tournament?
Baseball players can't play golf, Daniel.
Yeah, I think we've seen that, right? Jordan can play a little golf, play a little basketball. Not as good of a baseball player, but we shall see as things move forward here. Got a lot of time between now and 2028. But PJ always giving us his time on a Thursday. He will be with me next week. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for the next 2 weeks. We'll be broadcasting live on site, on location, in our second home of the great state of Florida. We will be in Orlando and St. Augustine. And so we look forward to having Papa Joe with us picture in picture from Orlando next week. And then we'll be with him in St. Augustine the following week. So PJ, a lot of great stuff coming up as I return home to my home away from home, which I can't wait to do.
Okay. Thanks. See you later.
Talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon. God bless to you and the family. Papa Joe here with us and getting done with yet another notebook as he continues to bring us all of his work every single week, and I cannot thank him enough for the work that he does. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is with you every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Outside of holidays, we will be taking Memorial Day off, so this coming Monday, we will have the day off, which is good. I'll be spending that day with my mom in sunny Florida, so got to take a little break and spend some time with the lady that raised me, right? Helped to give me the life that I have today and has been an outrageous amount of support in my life. So I can't thank my mom enough. So love my mom and cannot say enough about you, Mom. You truly are one of one. And I say it to this day. The only person in the world up to this point in the world currently on the planet that I can cry thinking about in a positive way every day. So I love you, Mama. YouTube and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. That's where you find us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on Wake Up Call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, you will also find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to subscribe and follow us there. It is free. And, of course, from New York to North Carolina, we just started a new segment with the Brooklyn Pickle called In a New York Minute, where I take my inspirational advice that I share with you all throughout the year anyways, and we just put it in a segment. So what I was going to do anyway is now a part of our Brooklyn Pickle segment, which is called In a New York Minute, a minute of positive advice for your day. 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. The Brooklyn Pickle. Go and see them down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course. And many thanks to our team of partners in Central and Upstate New York. Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world, Avicoli's, Servomation, Mother's Cupboard, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Brian's Landing, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins every Wednesday during Dolphin Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alum. You will find them all right here where sports meets life. And you can find all of our content with the Dolphins by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Lemoyne Dolphins playlist. You also find them on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to lemoynedolphins.com. Fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Bobcats in what we call the Bobcat Buzz, an unprecedented coverage of the Bobcats every single month with their baseball program, as well as men's and women's basketball and men's and women's soccer. You will find them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. What you know about BU? The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Binghamton Bearcats every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time during Bearcat Time. With student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni, the Bearcat stories are told in a way you won't find anywhere else. here on Wake Up Call. You'll find all of our content on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank Papa Joe inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. If you have a sweet tooth or a savory tooth or a snaggletooth even, you can go to Ma and Pa's. Make sure you go over there. They have something for everybody, from their original flavored kettle corn, their popcorns, all of their different flavors, their premium corn, their chocolate-dipped pretzels, their chocolate-dipped Oreos, as well as their cotton candy, their lemonade, and more, and all of their freeze-dried candy. There's nothing like Ma and Pa's. Any age of human being is going to find something to snack on at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. We'll see you over there. And you can have Ma and Pa's fundraise your event, so make sure that you get in touch with Ma and Pa's. They have great fundraising opportunities, and so in order to get in touch with them to find out how they can be a part of your fundraiser, all you have to do is get a hold of Ma and Pa's by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. By the way, for the first time ever, we make history tonight on Wake Up Call. You know I love making history, and every year we do something. Well, this year, in making history with Wake Up Call and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, we'll be doing our first ever broadcast on site, on location at Tully's Good Times Restaurant. We'll be at the Erie Boulevard location, 2943 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse, New York. Tonight, Thursday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. we'll get started with the Christian Brothers Academy softball squad. The CBA softball team, ahead of their postseason, will be joining us on site, on location, with their coaching staff and their student athletes, as well as families. So come and have dinner tonight, dinner and a show at Tully's Good Times Restaurant, 2943 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse. Tully's on Erie Boulevard. We will make history as Wake Up Call will be broadcasting for the first time ever with Tully's on site, on location. We'll see you at Tully's Erie Boulevard tonight, Thursday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. with CBA Softball. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. With a thanks to Papa Joe and every single one of you for watching and listening. God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk with you soon. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, this is Wake Up Call. And I'm very happily and proudly, by the grace of God, woke up this morning. I'm Dan Tortora. Have a great day.